The movie begins in Los Angeles, where Will Sharp, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, a veteran, is struggling to secure financial assistance from medical insurance agents to cover the cost of experimental cancer surgery for his wife, Amy. Moses Ingram. Despite his efforts, he receives no support, leaving him with limited options. To make matters worse, the couple also has a baby to care for. Will leaves home under the pretense of attending a job interview, but instead meets his adoptive brother, Danny, Jake Gyllenhaal, a notorious bank robber. Will finds Danny at his house, where he and his crew have several stolen cars. Sensing Will's desperation, Danny offers him a chance to join a heist they are planning to execute that same day. Will, with no other options, agrees to participate. Elsewhere in the city, paramedic Cam Thompson, Isa Gonzalez, and her new partner, Scott, Colin Woodell, respond to a car accident where a young girl named Lindsay, Briella Guiza, has been impaled by a fence post. Cam helps calm Lindsay as they work to cut the fence and free her. Later, during lunch, Scott shares the good news that Lindsay is expected to recover. However, Cam dismisses the emotional aspect, stating that she approaches her job professionally and avoids forming attachments. Scott remarks on Cam's reputation. While she's known as the best paramedic in the city, her detached demeanor makes her difficult to work with. Meanwhile, Will joins his adoptive brother Danny, Jake Gyllenhaal, and his crew as they arrive at a bank to carry out a heist. At the same time, two police officers, Zach, Jackson White, and Mark, Cedric Sanders, head to the bank because Zach has a crush on one of the tellers and plans to ask her out. Mark encourages him to go for it. When Zach enters the bank, he finds Danny and his crew holding the employees at gunpoint. Zach tries to play it cool by pretending to open an account, but Danny, posing as the bank manager, gives him a fake name for the teller. As Zach approaches the window, he notices the teller's real name and senses something is wrong. Danny quickly pulls out his gun, and his crew follows suit, forcing Zach to stay calm while they proceed with their plan and prepare to escape. Outside the bank, Mark assists one of the crew members whose truck has stalled, unaware of the man's criminal intentions. When the crew's cover is blown, the criminal tries to run Mark over, but he narrowly escapes. Meanwhile, Will and Danny exit the bank with Zach as their hostage. A gunfight erupts between the remaining crew members and the police, resulting in the deaths of Danny's accomplices. Zach attempts to resist, but Will shoots him, leaving him behind as they flee. Mark eventually finds Zach and calls for help. Paramedics Cam and Scott arrive to treat Zach, but Danny forces Scott out of the ambulance and makes Will take his uniform. They hijack the ambulance, with Danny holding Cam at gunpoint in the back. As they drive away, they encounter a blockade of police cars, but Cam convinces the officers to let them pass by, explaining that Zach is inside receiving treatment. Meanwhile, other officers discover Scott unconscious and realize the ambulance has been stolen by Will and Danny. The situation escalates as SIS Captain Monroe, Garrett Dillahunt, and FBI agent Anson Clark, Keir O'Donnell, are called in. Clark, who specializes in bank robberies, reveals that he knows Danny's criminal history and his connection to his father's life of crime. Monroe warns the team to proceed carefully, as Zach is still inside the ambulance. Will stops the vehicle in an alley after noticing police helicopters searching for them. Cam tries to escape but is caught by Danny and forced back inside. Danny contacts another criminal, Castro, Whale Falarin, to arrange their arrival in Boyle Heights. He also speaks to crime boss Poppy, A. Martinez, who had ties to Danny's father. Gangsters in the area prepare a car equipped with a machine gun for their escape. Meanwhile, Cam works to stabilize Zach and pressures Danny to assist with the defibrillator. When Zach begins to bleed heavily, Cam attempts to stop the bleeding, but struggles because she lacks medical expertise. She reaches out to her ex-boyfriend, Colin, Andy Favreau, a doctor, who connects her with two surgeons via video chat to guide her through the procedure. With Will's assistance, they are forced to operate on Zach, digging into his stomach to remove the bullets. At one point, Zach regains consciousness and panics, prompting Will to knock him out with a punch. While attempting to remove a bullet from Zach's spleen, Cam accidentally ruptures it and uses her hair clip to clamp it down. Despite the complications, they manage to control the bleeding. Monroe contacts Colin, who informs him that the video feed cut off just as Zach's spleen ruptured. Assuming Zach has died, Monroe orders snipers to take position and prepare to ambush the ambulance. However, Cam manages to reach FBI agent Clark and confirms that Zach is still alive. She alerts Will and Danny about the snipers, and although the ambulance is hit several times, they evade the police and cause multiple cop cars to crash during their escape. Danny, deciding Cam is no longer needed, tries to shoot her, but Will intervenes by playing music to calm him down, though it fails to work. During this tense moment, Cam learns about Will's personal life when his wife, Amy, video calls him, thinking he was at a job interview. Amy reveals that Will is a veteran and a father. Will drives the ambulance to the Los Angeles River, where Danny fires at a police helicopter before they continue their escape. They arrive at their destination, where Castro begins spray painting the ambulance to disguise it. Meanwhile, Monroe and his team prepare to confront them. The criminals retaliate by deploying a machine gun-equipped car, which opens fire on the police, killing Monroe. Poppy's son, Roberto, Jesse Garcia, sends an explosive-laden ambulance into the police crowd, causing further casualties. Mark spots Roberto and chases him, leading to a struggle that results in Roberto accidentally shooting himself in the head. Poppy witnesses this tragic event on the news. Will and Danny arrive at Poppy's location with the ambulance to deliver his share of the stolen money. Poppy, furious over his son's death, demands further revenge and orders the brothers to leave Cam and Zach behind. Refusing to comply, Will and Danny team up to kill Poppy and his men. Meanwhile, Zach hands Cam his gun for protection. In a moment of panic, Cam accidentally shoots Will. Danny discovers Will wounded and mistakenly assumes the shot came from one of Poppy's gang members. Danny drives the ambulance toward a hospital but is quickly surrounded by police. Clark attempts to negotiate with Danny, urging him to surrender or face being shot. Danny learns that Cam was the one who shot Will and tries to force her out at gunpoint, intending to take her with him as he faces his inevitable death. As he steps out with Cam, a gunshot echoes. Danny is shot from behind by Will. Will is pulled out of the ambulance and lies beside Danny, who apologizes to him before passing away. Amy arrives at the scene and becomes distraught upon seeing Will. Despite being restrained, Cam does her best to help Will survive. She speaks to Amy and discreetly leaves some of the stolen money in the baby's car seat, fulfilling Will's earlier request. Will is taken into custody and hospitalized under supervision. Amy watches him through a window with their baby, and Will manages to wave at them. An officer takes Zach's statement and asks who shot him. Zach points to Will, acknowledging that he saved his life. Cam then visits Lindsay's hospital room, holding her hand as she wakes up. Later, Cam leaves the hospital as night falls.